What is up? I'm Dr. Harris. I'm going to be talking with you about my really crazy upbringing and about how I went from being raised in a crack house to actually becoming a surgeon. Two very big extremes, but that's kind of part of my story. Um, so there's so much to my story that I am working on a memoir, and I thought, it'd be kind of entertaining to just kind of share my story in a YouTube channel. So in this first introductory video, I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, and I'm going to go into the first chapter of my memoir, which actually talks a lot about me being raised in a crack house. Um, I think that the big thing for folks to understand about me is that I do have a lot of different things going on. Besides being a surgeon, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm into jujitsu. Um, we have a son who's disabled who had a traumatic brain injury, who, when he was 17 years old, fell off a skateboard and almost died. And we take care of him. So we have a really busy life. And I think a lot of people have asked about what it's like behind closed doors. And I'm really an open book. I don't really hide much of my life, the good, the bad, a dark history that I used to have, all these different things I'll be sharing with you on this channel. Um, as far as the first chapter of what I'm going to dive into, um, it's linked to memory and emotion and the sense of smell. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but one of my earliest memories is linked to the smell of crack cocaine. I was a little kid being raised in a house where a lot of my family members used drugs, and crack cocaine had a very specific odor to it. It smelled kind of musky, sweet, uh, disgusting. It triggers a memory and emotion of disgust and of me being a little kid watching my family smoke crack. I was actually able to watch them when they would go into the bathroom because my room was attached to the bathroom, and the closet in my room shares a wall with the bathroom. And there were these little holes in the wall from where pictures used to hang and nails had been taken out of the wall. And I could actually look through those little pinholes to be able to see them, and they didn't know I was there. So I actually could smell when they were smoking crack, and I saw how a lot of my family members reacted. And my aunt and uncle would typically get high and go to their room and kind of seclude themselves. So I wasn't really harshly affected by them. But my dad, he would just freak out. He would get high and he'd get really paranoid and he'd pace up and down the house. And he was a really big guy. And part of the book chapter is talking about how there's a part where I tried to keep him inside the house one time and how that really went wrong, and it became kind of a terrifying moment in my life. Um, the trigger with smell and why I bring that up is as an adult, I was going through my surgical residency at Hopkins, and I went into one of the restrooms. It was by the emergency room after I'd seen a trauma patient, and as soon as I walked in that bathroom, that odor was there, and someone had smoked crack in that bathroom. And immediately, I was that little boy again in the closet, looking through those pinholes and smelling that odor. It immediately took me there. Um, the olfactory nerves that go through the base of the skull into the area where the nose, when we inhale, when we smell something, that odor transmits a signal to the brain, and it goes immediately to the center for emotion, which is the amygdala, and the center for memory, which is the hippocampus. And that's part of the reason why, out of all our senses, it's one of the most immediate triggers for us to be able to feel and remember certain things. And that moment when I was an adult as a resident, when I smelled that, it's like immediately took me back to that feeling of disgust and that memory of being in the closet watching my family. So that first chapter, it's kind of around that whole process of what I went through as a kid. Big picture wise, my story goes on to me actually becoming a father at age 15, and how my now wife and I have been together for over 32 years. A lot of the things that we went through with having children at a young age, having to work full time throughout college, and how I got into medical school, how I left that lifestyle that I was in when I was a teenager. I was robbing people, doing a lot of bad things. It goes into a lot of the details about that, and how faith impacted me to become a better person. And you see this picture behind me. It's one of my favorite paintings, and it shows a surgeon, at a moment just looking up to God and just praying. And I think that that is something that has always been a very big part of my life as a surgeon. I have been driven by ambition, but the true thing that guides me is my faith, and I feel that my way of giving service back to others is through my skill set acquired as being a surgeon. And I think that I have a passion for surgery and for education, and a lot of my videos are going to be based on that as well. So it's a lot of different things. I know everyone says, "Oh, you have to get a niche," but it's really hard for me to do that. I mean, me as a person, there's a lot of things to me. And for those who are interested, I hope you enjoy the content. And for those that aren't interested, hey, to each their own. Have a great day. God bless.